Hey guys, good evening and welcome to this free live session on the SSC CGL 2015 exam paper brought to you by TalentSprint. I hope all of you have applied for the SSC CGL 2016 exam. For your information, the last date of registration has been extended till March 21, right? So the part 1 registration closes on 21st of March. So all those who haven't completed their application yet, please ensure that you do it today itself after the session gets over, right? Please do not delay it and wait for the last day, because usually towards the end of the application date, we find that there's a lot of traffic on the website of SSC, and many of the students fail to complete the registration process. So please do not leave it for chances. Ensure that you complete your application today itself. I can see a lot of you have already joined, right? For example, Niti Goel, Pallavi, Vinny, and we have Jyoti, and many others there, right? So good evening, guys. Welcome. Nice to see you all participating in this session. Now, you know that this session is about the SSC CGL exam, which is tentatively scheduled for the month of May, right? The Tier 1 exam is, planned for 8th and 22nd of May. So I hope you have also started your preparation, and 2 months of time, 2.5 months of time should be enough for you to get ready for this exam, right? Remember, this is simply a game of practice. The more you practice, the easier it gets, right? The type of questions asked are usually very simple, right? It is just that you must be able to get the right idea at the right time and try to manage that allotted time very efficiently, right? There will be 200 questions and the total time given is 120 minutes. That is the challenge. And for you to ensure that you can answer maximum number of questions, solve as many questions as possible, you'll have to practice a lot. All right. So practice definitely is needed, and I'm sure all of you will do that, right? Have already started, and we'll do that for the next 2 months. Now, what are we going to do in this session? Like usual, we'll be solving previous year's papers, right? SSC is an annual exam. Last year papers, I'm sure all of you already have access to those papers, right? Getting SSC's previous papers is not difficult, because paper is generally let out, right? After the exam gets over, you can carry the paper with yourself, right? The candidates can carry the papers. So finding out previous papers or getting hold of previous papers is not a challenge at all, right? And I'm sure all of you must have got it already. What are we going to do today is take one such previous paper, right? The SSC CGL exam paper of the year 2015, right? Last year's paper, and solve questions from the quantitative aptitude section, right? 50 questions are asked generally. Not generally. The pattern is that there'll be 50 questions from quantitative aptitude, and each other section will also have 50 questions. So we'll try and solve some of those questions here, right? The session will get closed at 7 o'clock. So I'm sure we'll not be able to do all the 50 questions, but try and complete as many as possible, right? And specifically, we'll be focusing on the arithmetic aptitude part today, right? There are two parts. One is arithmetic aptitude, then there is a section of pure mathematics where topics like geometry, trigonometry, algebra, heights and distance are covered. So we'll be doing those questions in one of our future sessions. Today we'll be focusing on arithmetic aptitude. But before we start solving questions, I would like to quickly run through the previous paper, right? I've got a copy of one of those previous sets with me here. Part C, right? Usually the third part of the question paper is quantitative aptitude. So 101 to 150 are going to be the quantitative aptitude questions. So we'll quickly run through this, see what are the different areas which have been tested, and then solve some of these questions, right? So if you look at question number 101, it says x equals to root 5 minus root 3 by root 5 plus root 3, and y equals to root 5 plus root 3 by root 5 minus root 3. Then what is the value of x square plus xy plus y square divided by x square minus xy plus y square? So basically a question on surds, or you can call it, algebra, right? It's all about substituting the given values and solving it to get the answer. But doing it the traditional way is going to take a lot of time, right? There are smart ways which can be applied to arrive at the answers quickly. So that is the first question there. Second question is on, something about circumcenter of a triangle. So this is from geometry. Question 3 is on, discount, marked price, right? I can see words like discount, marked price, etc. This is profit and loss. Question numbers 4 and 6 are on a pie chart, right? There's a pie chart given to us. and 3 questions followed by that. So question numbers 4 to 6. Then trigonometry, right? 2 questions on trigonometry. 9th one is on time and work. Question number 10 is on mensuration. Question 11 is also on mensuration. 13th is geometry. So 12th is geometry. 13th is time and distance, right? 14th is simple and compound interest. 15th is boards and streams. 16th is trigonometry. 17th is trigonometry again, right? Question 18 is profit and loss. 19 trigonometry. 20 is mensuration. 21 ratios. 22 average. 23 algebra. 24 to 27. So these 5 questions are on data interpretation, right? Bar diagram has been given, followed by 5 questions. Then 28 is algebra and so on, right? Algebra, percentage, algebra, average, simplifications, algebra again, trigonometry, geometry, algebra, pipes and systems, right? Then heights and distance. Then we have got profit and loss again, allocations and mixtures, internal bisectors, which is geometry, right? Circles to be specific. Then, sorry, triangles, right? Then for question number 43 is on marked price and discount. 44 is also algebra. 45 is on common chords, tangents, transverse common tangent and direct common tangent. So this is on circles. 146 is simplifications. 147 is triangles. 148, 149, 150 all are from geometry, triangles basically. So if you really look at it, there are questions from almost every topic of quantitative aptitude, right? Arithmetic ability as well as pure mathematics like geometry, trigonometry, etc. And you can see that there's a 50-50 breakup between these two. So let's quickly get started now. Like I said, we'll be solving some questions from last year's paper, and the focus today will be on arithmetic aptitude like percentages, profit and loss, simple and compound interest, partnership, ratio and proportion, etc. And when we do a similar session again in future, we'll be looking at the remaining part of the paper. All right. So I'm going to share my screens now, which will have questions one after the other. I'll give you about a minute for each of those questions, and then we'll look at the smart way of answering these questions there, right? So let's get started. Here we go with the first question. I hope you're all able to see the shared screen without any difficulty. The question here says, A and B together can do a piece of work in 30 days. B and C together can do it in 20 days. A starts the work and works on it for 5 days. Then B takes up and works for 15 days. Finally, C finishes the work in 18 days. Find the number of days in which C alone can do the work when doing it separately. And the given answer options are 40, 120, 60, and 24. So like I said, 1 minute and your time has already started. I can see a few more names here. Shubhendu, Roy, Sonia, Lakshya, Jayesh, Singhal. And others there, right? I guess there's some discussion about the LIC AO exam going on there, right? Like you all are aware, the LIC exam got over just last weekend, right? I hope all of you have performed well, and we'll get to know the results in a few days from now. Kumar says, thanks, now it has started on my laptop. Well, Kumar, the session started about 8 minutes ago, right? But not to worry. The first question is on your screen and you can solve it now. All right. So what do we do? It says A and B together can do a piece of work in 30 days. Now, from the basic concept of time and work, you know that A and B together can do a piece of work in 30 days implies what? We can say the total work W is equal to 30 times A plus B, right? 30 times of A plus B. The work can be measured as number of men into number of days. So A and B together working for 30 days, right? So 30 into A plus B. B and C together can do it in 20 days, right? So the group of B and C can do the same work in 20 days. So B plus C into 20 will also be equal to the same work W there, right? So W is equal to 30 times A plus 30 times B, or it is equal to 20 times B plus 20 times C. Now comes the actual case. It says A starts the work and works on it for 5 days. Then B takes up, right? Then B takes up. What happens? A has started the work, works on it for 5 days, and then B takes up, right? And works for 15 days. B has worked for 15 days. Finally, C finishes the work in 18 days. Now the question here is number of days in which C alone can do the work when doing it separately. So what happened in actual case? A started, he has worked for 5 days. So we can say the amount of work done by A is 5A, right? Number of men into number of days, of the capacity of A into number of days, 5A. Then B takes up and works for 15 days. So plus 15B. And finally, C finishes it in 18 days, plus 18C. Now the question says number of days in which C alone can do it separately, right? So if C is working alone, how many days would he take to complete this work? You're able to follow. How many days would C alone take to complete the given work? So how do we solve this? I think some of you had got the answer as 60, option 3, and 1 or 2 said option 4, right? 24. So I've started the solution with this equation, right? The work equation. W equals to 30 times of A plus B, 20 times of B plus C, and 5A plus 15B plus 18C. We are looking at the number of days which C would take. So basically the value of C, right? What is the value of C is what we need to calculate. You get the capacity, reciprocate it to get the number of days, right? Yeah, I can see, Kathisaran also getting the answer is 24, option 4 here. So what do we do? I'm waiting for you guys to respond. See, you have given the right answer or one or the other answer there, but what kind of steps did you follow, right? What steps did you follow is the question. Anyone there? 120. A new answer has come up which says 120. Vinu has got option B, option 2, 120. Okay, I'm not looking for the answer. I want the solution. Anyway, let me explain this to you. So see what happens. We have measured the work as 30 times of A plus B, 20 times of B plus C, or the same work can be taken as 5A plus 15B plus 18C. Now, it all depends on how do you look at this last part of the equation. If you look at the traditional way of solving it, we have got 3 equations. This is equation number 1, this is equation number 2, and this is equation 3. Right, a left-hand side and a right-hand side, followed by with a equal to sign in between. 3 equations with 3 unknown values, A, B, and C can be solved. So basically, that's about it. 3 equations, 3 unknown values. You can solve for it and find out whatever needed. Right. So C is needed here. But how do we do it in a smart way? The question here is how do we do it in a smart way? See, focus on this last part here: 5A plus 15B plus 18C. Here we'll try to split it intelligently. Right, 5A plus 15B plus 18C. This can be taken as 5A plus 5B plus 10B plus 10C plus 8C. Yes or no? The total work W is 5A plus 5B plus 10B plus 10C plus 8C. So if you see 5A, 15B is nothing but 5B plus 10B, and 18C is 10C plus 8C. Now, why are we doing this? Look at it. If you take 5 common here, if we take 5 common, we get 5 times of A plus B. Plus, if we take 10 common, we get 10 times of B plus C plus 8C, which is equal to W. Remember, this is equal to W. Now, understand, we know that 30 times of A plus B is also W, right? 30 times of A plus B is also W. So 5 times of A plus B will be how much? This can be taken as 5 into 6, right? So 5 times of A plus B will be W by 6. So this can be taken as W equals to W by 6 plus. We know that 20 times of B plus C is W. So 10 times of B plus C will be half of W. Like this 20 can be taken as 2 into 10. So 10 times of B plus C will be W by 2, half of W plus 8C. That's it. Simplify this and get the value of C there. Right? What happens? Or instead of taking W, you can say the work is 1 unit. You know that work, the total work can always be taken as 1 unit. Total work can be taken as 1 unit, you'll get the capacity of C. See, the solution is not as lengthy as you see it on the screen there, right? I'm writing all the steps so that I can give you a detailed explanation. When you actually do it in the exam, you'll start from this step onwards, right? This step is more than enough to start with. Okay, so simplify this now. What happens? Let us take the total work as 1 unit, right? 1 unit. So what happens? 1 equals to 1 by 6 plus 1 by 2 plus 8c. So from this 8c will be equal to 1 minus 1 by 6 minus 1 by 2. 1 minus 1 by 6 minus 1 by 2. So 1 minus 1 by 2 is 1 by 2. 1 by 2 minus 1 by 6 will be how much? 1 by 3. So 8c equals to 1 by 3. 8c equals to 1 by 3 implies c is equal to 1 by 8 into 3, 24. So if you observe, we have got the value of c, right? That is what we needed. Capacity of c is equal to 1 by 24. But the question actually says, how many days will c take? This is the capacity of c. You know that capacity and number of days are inversely related to each other, right? Reciprocal of each other. So if capacity is 1 by 24, number of days required will be 24, right? Capacity is 1 by 24, days required will be 24. So option 4 is the correct answer. But I repeat, do not go by the length of the solution here, right? Do not go by the length of the solution that it is so lengthy. It is not. I have given you a detailed explanation, right? What you will actually do in the exam is simply like this. You know that you have to focus on the last part. So try to break it up accordingly, right? So it said 5a plus 15b plus 18c. So this is what you are going to do in the exam. So 5a plus 5b. Let us try to take complete a here, right? Complete coefficient of a. So 5a plus 5b. Now we know that a plus b equals to 1 by 30. See, the other way of looking at it is a plus b equals to 1 by 30, which is given in the question. B plus c equals to 1 by 20. So from this you take 5a and 5b. So a plus b is 1 by 30. 5 of a plus b will be 5 into 1 by 30. Plus, now if 5b is gone, what is left out? 10b. 10b plus 10c. b plus c is 1 by 20. 10 times of b plus c. So 10 times of 1 by 20. Plus 8c equals to 1. That's it. Simplify this equation, get the value of c. This c will come out to be 1 by 24 like we have seen, which is the capacity, right? This is capacity. But what we need, the number of days. So if capacity is 1 by 24, number of days will be 24. So this is how you are going to solve it in the exam, right? Only these two steps. Of course, a little bit of calculation has to be done there, which I'm sure you'll be able to do, right? So don't go by the length of the solution. I've given you the detailed solution there. You can keep it simple by just writing these two steps on paper, right? Remember, if you actually try to solve the 3 equations, I told you, right? The traditional way of solving it is to solve those 3 equations and find out A, B, and C, and then you will be able to answer any type of question asked there. But that would take a little more time, right? That would be a little longer. So keep it simple and try to answer it this way. All right. So that was about the first question of the session today, which was taken up from one of the previous papers, right? 2015 SSC CGL exam paper. I hope all of you have followed this, and I would appreciate all those who have actually followed this method themselves, right? When they have got the answer. Shall we move on to the next question now? Next question. Yes, I think we are ready to go for the next one. I'll just get the screen ready with the next question and share it with you. Here we go on the screen with question number 2. A very simple one. Ram deposited a certain sum of money in a company at 12% per annum simple interest for 4 years and deposited equal amount in fixed deposit in a bank for 5 years at 15% per annum simple interest. If the difference in the interest from the two sources is 1350, then the sum deposited in each case is, right? Sum deposited in each case is 4,000, 5,000, 6,500, and 3,000. Let me tell you, if you are good in calculation, you can arrive at the answer for this question in less than 15 seconds. I repeat, you can mark the answer for this question in less than 15 seconds, provided you are good in your calculations. So like I told you in the preparation strategy video for SSC CGL exam, you will have to spend a lot of time on your calculations, right? Which I hope you are doing it every day, right? At least 45 minutes to 60 minutes per day, you'll have to be spending on numbers. And here we have got the first answer from Maulik Kumar, 3,000. Raj Kumar says 5,000. So the first 2 responses are not matching. 3,000 and 5,000. Option 4 and option 2 is what we have got so far. Waiting for a few more responses before we go ahead with the calculation. Lakshya has got option 2, 5,000. Answer is option 2, 5,000, he says. Jayesh has also got 5,000. So looks like majority so far says it is 5,000. Chirag has got 6,500, which is option 3. But Hemant Kumar, Anil, Rajiv, all of them say 5,000. Sanju Mehra, Jyoti, right. Vibha Chaurasiya has also got 5,000. I think enough time given for this one. Almost everybody said the answer is 5,000, but then there were a couple of different responses, which are 6,500 and 3,000 there. So let us look at the solution. What do we do? Ram deposited a certain sum of money in a company at 12% per annum simple interest for 4 years. Now, you know the TalentSprint method of solving this question, right? Questions based on simple interest. What will be the simple interest in the first case? The simple interest in the first case is how much? 12% per annum for how many years? 4 years. 12 into 4, 48%. Deposited in equal amount. Now, this part is very important. He has deposited the same amount, which means the principal P is same in both the cases. P1 is equal to P2, right? The principal is same in both the cases. So, deposited an equal amount in fixed deposit in a bank for 5 years. At what rate? 15% per annum. So, what is the simple interest that he would get in the second case? 15% per annum for 5 years. So, each year he is getting 15%. 5 years he would get 75%. Now, the question says the difference in the interest from two sources is 1350. The difference of these two values is 1350, right? Interest from one source is 48% and that from the other source is 75%. So this difference is given as, right, 75% minus 48%. So strictly speaking, this should be taken as 75% of P2 and this should be taken as 48% of P1. But we have already learned that P1 is equal to P2. So need not worry about the actual value there, the base value there, right? Both are same. So 75% of P2 minus 48% of P1. Since P1 and P2 are equal, we can directly take it as 75% minus 48%, which comes out to be 27%. This 27% is equivalent to 1350. He says the difference from the two sources is 1350. Then the sum deposited in each case. How much was deposited in each case? You very well know from our video of simple and compound interest that principal should always be taken as 100%. And that's what is asking us to find out. So if 27% is 1350, 100% is equal to what? Cross multiply and you'll have your answers with you. Remember again, you need not put these steps on paper, right? SI is 48%, SI2 is 75%, difference is 75 minus 48. All these can be done mentally, right? You need not put pen on paper for that. So 27% is equal to 1350, 100% is equal to what? Cross multiply and you'll get your answers. Or you know that 27 into 50 is 1350. So 100 into 50, 5,000 will be your answer. So option 3 is the correct answer. Option 2 is the correct answer. 5,000 rupees. All right. So I think when I said 15 seconds is what it would take, I actually gave you a lot of time, right? Enough time to crack this. It is a no-brainer in my view, right? Simple interest questions are usually simple, and this in fact was like a very straight question. So just calculate the interest in terms of percentages from both the schemes, take the difference and crack it. So that was the question on simple and compound interest. Getting the screen ready for the next one. Here we go. So next question is on boards and streams. Sharing my screens with all of you now. So don't try and use the simple interest formula, right? SI equals to PTR by 100 and all that. Not needed. Go by the concept of percentages and you'll save a lot of time. The speed of a boat in still water is 6 kilometers per hour and the speed of the stream is 1.5 kilometers per hour. A man rows to a place at a distance 22.5 kilometers and comes back to the starting point. What is the total time taken by him, right? The total time taken by him is dash. 10 hours, 4 hours and 10 minutes, 6 hours and 10 minutes, or 8 hours. Again, I would say no-brainer, a very simple concept called boats and streams. You should not be taking more than 10 seconds to arrive at the answer. 10 seconds, in fact, is a little too much, right? So let's see. I'll wait for a few responses and then give you the solution. Shubhendu Roy says, will you please show us the trick to solve inequalities in quant section? Well, Shubhendu, I would like to mention that this is the session where we are only focusing on previous year's question, right? If at all we get a question on inequalities, I will definitely solve it for you. But otherwise, do not worry. You can join our refresher sessions as a premium student and get to learn all these concepts, right? All the concepts across all the subjects. There are 423 videos for quantitative aptitude, English language, and general intelligence and reasoning. So you can go through all these videos, learn all the concepts. But yes, if there is a question in the paper that has been asked, I'll solve it. Okay, so like expected, all of you have got the correct answer, 8 hours. Everybody has got the same answer, right? All of you have got the same answer. Tarun Kaur, Mugesh, Lakshan Negi, 8 hours. So I don't think I'll have to solve this for you, but let's quickly look at it. What is it asking us to find out? Total time taken. Understand, there are 2 journeys here, 2 parts in that journey, right? Total journey. One is upstream, the other is downstream. A man rose to a place at a distance of 25 kilometers and comes back to the starting point. Now you may, actually ask me a question. When he rose to a place which was 22.5 kilometers away, was he going upstream or downstream? Well, the question is not very clear on that, but that doesn't matter. Because anyway, we have to take upstream time plus downstream time. Total time taken is equal to upstream time plus downstream time. Now, whether downstream is done first or upstream is done next or the other way doesn't really matter, right? And we know that time is equal to distance by speed. So just do that and you'll get an answer. So see, time, total time has to be calculated, 2 parts, upstream and downstream. So what do? Time is equal to upstream time. What is time? Distance by stream. What is time? Distance by speed. So distance upstream is 22.5. Speed upstream. What happens? Speed upstream. See, when a man or a boat is going upstream, speed should be taken as differences of the 2 speeds. 6 kilometers per hour and 1.5 kilometers per hour. So 6 minus 1.5 plus time downstream, the second part, time downstream, same distance remains same, divided by time. Time downstream should be taken as sum of the speeds. 6 plus 1.5. Simplify this and you have your answer. So 6 minus 1.5 is 4.5. 6 1.5 plus 1.5 is 7.5. 22.5 by 4.5 is 5. 22.5 by 7.5 is 3. So 5 plus 3, 8 hours is your answer. So good, but remember, though a simple question, you should ensure that you try and solve it as quickly as possible, right? Please note that the answer, getting the right answer is, yes, of course, important, but just getting the answer alone will not help you. You'll have to be as quick as possible because the competition is huge. I'm sure everyone here can solve this question, but what matters is how quickly do you arrive at the answer. So keep that speed part in your mind and start focusing on your calculations. So I think a question on profit and loss, we'll come back to this. Let us solve this question on ratios first. Although a simple one, but I'm sure most of you would follow a lengthy procedure for this one. So I'm trying to focus on those questions where we actually end up wasting a lot of time. Look at this. If 2 numbers are in the ratio 2:3 and the ratio becomes 3:4 when 8 is added to both the numbers, then the sum of the 2 numbers is 40, 10, 100 or 80. 45 seconds, your time has already started. If 2 numbers are in the ratio 2:3 and the ratio becomes 3:4 when 8 is added to both the numbers, 8 is added to both the numbers, right? 8 is added to each of the numbers. Then the sum of 2 numbers is. What is the sum of 2 numbers? I think Taran Kaur, Vinu, Monica have already responded. Lakshya has also got the answer as 40, option 1. Sonia has got 40, Rajkumar, Rajeshwari, Venkatesh. So 40 seems to be the response. But I remember someone saying 80. I think Vikram had got 80 initially. He has changed it to 40. So I knew this, right? I knew that all of you would get the correct answer, 40. But what method have you followed is important, right? There are multiple ways of solving this question, right? Basically, it says 2 numbers are in the ratio 2:3. So we can say the numbers are A and B. So A by B equals to 2/3. Then he says the ratio becomes 3/4, 3:4 when 8 is added to both the numbers. So A plus 8 divided by B plus 8 is equal to 3/4. Now, if you see 2 equations, 2 unknowns, can you solve? Yes. Equation number 1, equation number 2, and there are only 2 unknown values, 2 variables, A and B. So solve for both A and B, and then find out the sum. He's asking us to find the sum of 2 numbers. So the requirement is A plus B is equal to what? So you can quickly solve these equations, right? Not a very difficult task. You can say that 3A plus 2b, or 3a equals to 2b. 3a equals to 2b. You can substitute the same in the other equation there. And this one says, 4a plus 32 is equal to 3b plus 24, right? So in simple form, these are the two equations, and solving it is one way of getting the answer. But please do not follow that, right? Absolute waste of time. Though the method is correct, this is not what you'll have to follow in the exam, right? Answer is 40. No doubt the answer is 40, but how do you do it in a smart way? See, generally when questions based on ratios are asked, you can always go for elimination method. You can eliminate the wrong answers. What we'll do here is reverse engineering, right? Elimination method, or try to substitute the given options back into the question, right? Option 1, option 2, option 3, and so on, back into the question. Now, there are two ways of doing this again. Let us look at the first method. See, we know that the two numbers are in the ratio 2:3. So if one number is 2x, the other number is 3x. Yes or no? The numbers can be taken as 2x and 3x. In fact, that is what can be done here also. We can say the numbers are 2x, 3x. Then you can say 2x plus 8 divided by 3x plus 8 equals to 3/4. Solve for x, then find out 2x, find out 3x, and get the answer, which I'm sure most of you have followed. But don't do this, right? Don't do this. What do we do? The two numbers are 2x and 3x. So we can say that a plus b should be equal to 2x plus 3x, which means the sum has to be a multiple of 5. Yes or no? 5 into some value x. So we can clearly conclude that the sum of the two numbers has to be a multiple of 5. Now verify from the options. Option 1, 40. Yes, it is a multiple of 5. Option 2, 10. Yes, multiple of 5. Option 3, 100. Yes, is a multiple of 5. Option 4, 80. Yes, this also is a multiple of 5. So all the options are multiple of 5. This doesn't really help. But go ahead. Next step. What's the next step? He says the ratio becomes 3:4 when 8 is added to both the numbers. Now understand, we already know that a plus b is equal to 5x. What are we doing now? To 5x, we are adding 8 plus 8. See, 8 is added to both the numbers. So how much is being added? 16. Yes or no? A dash plus b dash, the new numbers, a dash and b dash. A dash is what? A plus 8. B dash is what? B plus 8. Already we know that a plus b is 5x. So this becomes 5x plus 8 plus 8, which is 5x plus 16. You're getting it? 5x plus 16. But the question says the ratio of a dash and b dash, a dash is to b dash is equal to 3:4, which implies a dash plus b dash, their sum has to be a multiple of 7. If you take this as 3y and this as 4y, the sum of the two numbers has to be a multiple of 7. So understand, 5x is what is required. 5x is given in the options. To 5x, when you add 16, it has to be a multiple of 7. I hope you're able to follow. When you add 16 to 5x, it has to be a multiple of 7. Verify. 40 plus 16, how much? 56. Is that a multiple of 7? Yes. So maybe this is the possible answer. You cannot conclude that this is the answer here itself. You'll have to verify the remaining options as well. Let us verify. 10 plus 16. 10 plus 16, how much? 26. Is 26 a multiple of 5? Multiple of 7? No. So option 2 is ruled out. 100 plus 16. 116. Is 116 a multiple of 7? No, 116 is not a multiple of 7. Why are we looking at multiple of 7? Because the ratio is given as 3:4. So 3 parts plus 4 parts, total 7 parts. Then 80 plus 16 is what? 96. Is 96 a multiple of 7? No, even fourth option is ruled out. So the only correct answer here is option 1, and that has to be the correct one. 40. You're able to follow. Initial sum has to be a multiple of 5. 40 is a multiple of 5. When you add 16, the sum has to be a multiple of 7. 40 plus 16, 56. Yes, it's a multiple of 7. So option 1 satisfies both the conditions. Hence, that's your correct answer. Please do not put pen on paper for this question. I repeat, this, I know many of you would have done this. In fact, I would like to ask, how many of you have done this? 2x plus 8 divided by 3x plus 8 equals to 3/4. Please respond to this question. How many of you have followed this method, the traditional method of answering this? Okay, some of you want me to explain the last step. I'll do that. I'll explain the last step again, right? Vinny, Abhi, and Swagato Banerjee wants me to explain the last step. I'll do that. I'll explain the whole question again. But before I do that, I would like to check how many of you have followed the traditional method, which is as shown here. 2x plus 8 by 3x plus 8 equals to 3/4. Find out the value of x, then take 2x plus 3x as the answer. Vaishnavi, Shalini, Sohande, Swagato. Everybody says me. Deepak, Anshul, Anil, Rajeshwari. Good. So I was right when I said many of you would waste your time here, right? I know most of you would have thought, why are we discussing this simple question? Because we waste our time in these kind of simple questions. I'll repeat this. Look at this. I think, yes, Lata Vaishnavi also says, I followed the traditional method. But good to know that Mukesh has not followed. I mean, Mukesh has done it in a smart way. Good. See, the idea is this, guys. Look at this. I'm explaining it once again. Simple verification. We know that the original sum is 2x plus 3x, which means it has to be a multiple of 5. You need not write this on paper. I'm writing it so that you can follow it easily, right? In the exam, without putting a dot on paper, we'll mark the answer for this question. It should be a multiple of 5. Verify this from the options. Unfortunately, all the options are multiple of 5. 40 is a multiple of 5. 10 is a multiple of 5. 100 is a multiple of 5. 80 is also a multiple of 5. What are we doing next? We are adding 8. 8 is added to both the numbers. So if 8 is added to both the numbers, what happens? The new sum will be original sum plus 16. So which means it will be 5x plus 16. Original sum is 5x. We are adding 8 to the first number, 8 to the second number. So 5x plus 16. The new sum should be 5x plus 16, which means if this is 5x, look at this. Options, what is given in the options? 5x is given. Yes or no? He's asking us to find out the sum of two numbers, which is 5x. 5x is given to us. We'll add 16 to each of these options. So 40 plus 16, 56. 10 plus 16, 26. This is 116. This is 96. After adding sum, he says the ratio becomes 3:4. 3:4 ratio means what? A dash is to B dash is 3:4. So I can say the sum A dash plus B dash has to be 3y plus 4y. We cannot take x again, so that is the reason I'm taking y, right? 7y. So the new sum A dash plus B dash has to be a multiple of 7. 56, is it a multiple of 7? Yes. 26, is that a multiple of 7? No. 116, is that a multiple of 7? No. 96, is this a multiple of 7? No. Option 1 is the correct answer. You're getting it? Option 1 is the correct answer. I hope all of you have followed it now. There's one more way of doing it. I'll explain the second method also. In fact, the third method. Traditional method is number 1. This is number 2. And there's one more way of doing it. But the third method that I'm going to explain is not applicable always. Only in certain cases it would apply. But this method, the second method that we have learned, right? Verification of ratios is applicable in any given case. In fact, if you go through our videos on ages, almost all the questions from ages we can solve using the given options. All right. So I would go with the third method, but before that, I would like to understand if you have followed this or not, because some of you had queries on this. Have you all followed this method? Second method. See, first method is the traditional method. 2x plus 8 divided by 3x plus 8 equals to 3/4. This is method number 2. If you all have followed this, I'll quickly explain the third method, which is actually a special case. It's not applicable always. Which in fact would seem much, much easier. But like I said, there is a condition. It is not applicable always. Yes. Okay. I've got some confirmations that you have followed it. So let me explain the third method for the same question. Method number 3 from the same question. If you observe the initial ratio, the two numbers A and B, the ratio is 2:3. What have we done actually? We have added 8 to A dash. What have we done to B? We have added 8 to B. Let's say this is B dash. What is the ratio? 3:4. Now, if you go by the concept of ratio and proportions, I have told you in the video that A is to B equals to 2:3 means what? A is 2 parts. A has got 2 parts and B has got 3 parts. Out of any total, which is divided into 5 equal parts, A will get 2 parts and B would get 3 parts. Observe, the point to be noted here is both A and B have been increased by the same value, plus 8 and plus 8. Yes or no? Both A and B have been increased by the same value, 8 and 8. The change is same in both of them. If you closely observe the ratios, 2 parts have become 3 parts, 3 parts have become 4 parts. Are you able to follow? 2 parts has become 3 parts, 3 parts has become 4 parts. Which means this plus 1 part and this also is plus 1 part. That means in terms of number of parts, actual absolute value, what have we added? We have added 8 value. I mean the number 8. You're able to follow? If you look at the absolute value, 8 has been added to each of the numbers. But if you look at the number of parts, 1 part has been added to each of them. So can I now conclude that this 1 part is equal to 8? Yes. So 1 part is equal to 8. What do we need? We need the sum of two numbers. What is the sum of two numbers? 2 parts plus 3 parts, 5 parts. If 1 part is 8, 5x. Remember 5x. What is this x? 1 part is 8 means what? X is equal to 8. that x we had taken initially in the previous case also, right? That x is equal to 8. So 5x will become what? 5 into 8. What is the answer? Option 1. You're getting it? But let's say the ratios are not changing in a similar fashion, like 2:3. Let's say if it becomes 3:5, then you cannot apply. Then it would be difficult. Yeah, Monica says I followed this method. Good. You can apply this method also, but may not be easy to apply in every case. But the second method that we discussed is always applicable. So here if you see 2 is becoming 3, increased by 1 part. This is becoming 5, increased by 2 parts. So that proportionality is not there. Proportionality is not there. Yes, I knew that everybody would say third method is very, very easy. But understand, guys, this method comes with a star mark. This star mark does not mean important. It means conditions apply. And anything with conditions attached has to be followed carefully, right? So answer is 40. Anyway, any method you follow, answer is 40. Now you have to follow the one which is comfortable to you, right? Time is important. How much time you spend is very, very important. Look at this question now. Averages. This question is on averages. I think we'll have to close it in 10 minutes from now. So let us try and discuss a few more questions quickly. A librarian purchased 50 story books from his library, for his library. But he saw that he could get 14 more books by spending rupees 76 more, and the average price per book would be reduced by rupees 1. The average price in rupees of each book he bought was how much? 20, 25, 15, 10. So this is a question on average. He says a person wanted to purchase 50 books, but he saw that if he's buying 14 more books, or he saw that he can buy 14 more books by just spending rupees 76. And this way, the average price of each book will reduce by 1. So basically, he will feel that there is an advantage here, right? I can save 1 rupee per book if I buy 14 more books by just paying 76 rupees. So the question says, what was the average price initially? What was the average price of the book he bought? You getting it? See, actually, he has bought only 50. He has not bought 50 plus 14. He has purchased only 50 books. But he observed, he saw, he noticed that he could buy 14 more books by just spending 76 more rupees. And that way he would reduce his average price per book by 1 rupee. So what is the original average is the question here. Kumar says, what if the difference is 2 or more? That's what I told you. The difference is 2 or more. It will not be as easy as you have seen here. So that is the reason, Kumar. Learn the third method also, but always I would prefer method 2, right? Anytime I would say method 2 is better. EC_Lata Vaishnavi says, please take a session on advanced mathematics. Like I said, Lata, we will have more sessions on SSC CGL coming up. But we will discuss advanced mathematics there. Like I'm sure you're talking about geometry, trigonometry, etc. Right? So we'll discuss those questions as well. Hemant Kumar has got the answer. 10. Option 4, he says. 10 is the answer. Kathiresan says, please take 2 live sessions in a week. Well, Kathiresan, once we start our SSC refresher, we will not take 2. We'll take actually 5 live sessions every week, but that will be only for our paid students. So if you want more, you'll have to, to be honest, you'll have to spend a little. You can explore about our programs. Focus on this question now. Chirag has also got 10. Chirag has got 10. Monica has also got 10. Good. But like I said, I'm not interested in the answer. I'm interested in the solution. Final answer 10. Okay. But what steps have you followed? How many steps did you put on paper? Did you use the formula or did you use something else? Trivikram, Jyoti have also got 10. I think everybody has got 10 so far. No deviation there. Lata Vaishnavi has also got 10. Shalini says, when will be the refresher session starting for premium students? Well, all those details are available on our online program, Shalini. And you can get all the details on our website also, talentsprint.com/bank. Or call our support center, right? You can call our support center at 1-800-2000-916 for all the details, right? So 10 is the answer. Do you all get that? 10. I'll just wait for a few more seconds. I want more people to respond to this. Rajeshwari says he's got it from options. Yes, options. Using options is one way to arrive at the answer for this question, right? You can also use options. Okay, shall we look at the solution now? Hemant Kumar says only one step. Take 64 into x minus 1, which is equal to 50x plus 76. Yes, 64 into x minus 1 equals to 50x plus 76. Solve this and you'll get your answer there. Pravalika says 10. Okay, so looks like everybody has got the same answer, option 4, 10. Let us now discuss the solution for this one. Now, there are different ways of doing it, right? I mean, solving this question here. Like, for example, if you focus on what Hemant Kumar has said, he says, take it as 64 into x minus 1, which is equal to 50x plus 76. So basically, Hemant says that average is equal to x. Hemant says, let us assume the original average is x, right? The original average is x. And he's trying to balance the amount spent. He's trying to balance the amount spent. This equation shows the amount spent. This is the amount spent, which is good. This is a good way of solving it. But can you do it without putting pen on paper is the question. Can you solve this question without writing anything on paper? Let me explain this to you first. So what has he done? He says, let us assume the average is 6. If the average is 6, how much money did we spend? See, initially he had bought 50 books. Average per book was X. Initially he has bought 50 books. Average per book was X. So total amount spent will be 50X. Then he noticed that if he spends 76 rupees more plus 76 more, he will get how many books? 14 more books. And also the average will reduce by 1. So which means the total amount for 64 books will be 64 into average X minus 1. This is how he has arrived at the equation. You're able to follow? We are talking about this equation which Hemant had shown. And I guess many of us would have done this. 50x plus 76 equals to 64x minus 1, which is actually very easy. You can just simplify it. So what happens? 64x minus 50x, 14x equals to 76 plus 64, 140. So from that we get x equals to 10. Option 4 is the answer. 10 is the answer, right? But let's try and do the same thing mentally. I mean, nothing wrong here. This also would take about 10 seconds, not more than that. I mean, 10, 12, or maybe at best 15 seconds. But if you go by the concept of average, right? Remember, in the video of average we have discussed, it is nothing but an equal distribution. Average is an equal distribution. So if you are thorough with the concept of equal distribution, it becomes very easy to crack this one, right? Right? If you know the concept of equal distribution, if you know how average is considered as equal distribution, it will be very, very easy for you to crack this question without writing anything on paper. I mean, that's the most important part, right? You can solve this without putting pen on paper. What do we do? So it's very simple. He says by spending 76 rupees more, the average price per book would be reduced by 1. See, average reduced by 1 for how many books? Reduced by 1 rupee for how many books? Average price reduced for how many books? 50 plus 14. Total 64 books. Again, you need not write this on paper. I'm just explaining it to you, right? Reduced, the average price reduced by 1 rupee for 64 books. Why are we taking 64 books? Why not only 14 books? Because after buying 14 more books, it is not 14 books alone, 14 more books. He already has 50 books plus 14 books he has bought. So total 64 books. For 64 books, the average has come down by 1 rupee. So how much did he save? He has saved 64 rupees. He has saved 64 rupees. Now what we will do is, let us assume that he does not save 64 rupees. See, he has saved 64 rupees because average has reduced by 1. Let us assume the average does not change. If average does not change, it will remain as the same old average. Are you able to follow? If the average value does not change, it will be equal to the original average. That is what is needed. He's asking us to find out the average price. So let us find out the average price in an indirect way. We will assume that the average has not changed, which means he did not save this 64 rupees. If he did not save this 64 rupees, what will be his spent? What will be his new spent expenditure? See, he has spent 76 rupees and saved 64. But let us assume he does not save 64. So 76 plus 64. How much is 76 plus 64? 140. Which means he had to spend 140 rupees For how many books? For 14 books. See, this time you have to consider 14. Don't consider 64. While calculating the average, you will take the whole lot. But this is only for extra. Extra spend is how much? 140 rupees. For how many extra books? For 14 books. Which means average price per book will be how much? 140 by 14, 10 rupees. And this average price, we have assumed that it has not changed. So we can say that 140 by 14, 10 rupees is the average. Yes, I think Mukesh has done the same thing. Mukesh says 76 plus 64 equals to 140. 140 by 14 is 10. This is what you just need to do. I did without paper, but took some more time. So maybe because sometimes it gets a little confusing, but if you are strong in calculation, I'm sure you can crack this in less than 8 seconds. This is the concept. This is the equal distribution concept. Trust all of you have followed this. Did you all follow this? Very simple. He says, by spending 76 rupees more, I am able to get 14 more books. Right? 76 rupees more implies 14 more books. Implies savings of how many rupees? See, 50 rupees and 50 books and 14 books. 50 plus 14, 64 books. On each book, he is saving 1 rupee. For each book, the average has come down by 1 rupee. So total how much savings? 64 rupees of savings. Let us assume he does not save anything. If he does not save anything, means what? This reduction in average is not being considered. Which means he had to spend 76 plus 64. For how much? Same 14 books. 14 extra books. He had spent 140 rupees. So per book, 10 rupees. And that's the average. Again, I'm ending up writing some steps here, but not needed, right? It's not needed. Vinu and Srinivas wanted me to repeat. Sorry, Srivani wanted to repeat. I've repeated this again. See, understand. He has spent 76 rupees more to buy 14 more books. And that way he has saved 64 rupees. How are we saying he has saved 64 rupees? Because the question says average price per book would be reduced by 1. Per book in this case means what? After buying 14 books per book. Total how many books? After buying 14 books, it will become 50 plus 14, 64 books. So for each of the 64 books, average is reduced by, average means per book, right? Average is reduced by 1 rupee. So for all the 64 books, we have saved 1 rupee. So 64 into 1, 64 rupees is the savings. We want to find out the original average. We will assume that he has not saved 64 rupees. So the savings is because average has come down. But if average remains the same, then the 64 will not be saved. So if average has to remain the same, he should spend the 64 rupees also along with 76 rupees. So total he'll have to spend 140 rupees. 140 rupees for buying 14 more books. That means each book then would cost 10 rupees. Are you able to follow? Each book would then cost 10 rupees. So we can conclude that the average is actually 10 rupees. Vasant says, yes, I have understood. Will this concept apply for similar sums? Yes. Loud and clear, this concept would apply for similar sums. Remember, average. In fact, a smart student or TalentSprint students, if you ask what is average, he will not say sum of all the values by number of values. He will say average is an equal distribution. By using this concept of equal distribution, you can solve almost every question of average. In fact, every question can be solved, not almost. Every question can be solved using this concept of equal distribution. But sometimes, if the question is really complex, 2, 3, 4 equations are involved, then maybe you'll like to put pen on paper. But the type of question that we generally see in SSC and bank exams can be answered just by using this concept of equal distribution. Like similarly, if you see many times, I'll stop sharing the screen for a while, right? Many times we also see that questions based on, this students in a class and teacher are asked. A teacher joins the group, average has increased. Teacher left the group, teacher left the class, average decreased. All those questions are also solved using formula and all. But if you look at our videos, simple. Average is equal distribution. So no need of using any formula. Just go by concept. It is an equal distribution. Apply that. Without writing anything on paper, you'll get the answer. And the fact that you have not put pen on paper implies you'll not spend that extra time, right? You'll save some time there. And by which you'll be able to attempt more number of questions. Right? So good to see that all of you have followed this. Let me now quickly move on to the next question. I think we are already late. The session was supposed to get over by 7. We are at 7:05 now, but one last question and then we'll close it, right? I wish I could do more. Let me get the screen ready, and then we'll solve it. There are more questions on averages, etc. But yeah, let us take something from profit and loss. So sharing the screens with all of you. Deepak says, please give more examples for this method. Deepak, all our examples in videos have been discussed using equal distribution only. You can refer those videos, right? I'm afraid we do not have enough time to discuss more examples. I wish I could do more. But for now, answer this question. A dealer buys an article listed at ₹100 and gets successive discounts of 10% and 20%. He spends 10% of the cost price on transportation. At what price should he sell the article to earn profit of 15%? I think nothing worth highlighting in this question. You can all solve and get the right answer. But it all depends on how good, how strong you are in your calculations. The time that you take for this question would depend on how quick you are in your calculations. And let me tell you, all of us are very bad in calculations, and we end up wasting a lot of time. We will do simple calculations like 15% of 72 on paper, and that is what has to be avoided. You're getting it? If you can do calculations without putting pen on paper, you will save a lot of time. So waiting for your responses. 92. Maulik Kumar says option 2, 92 is the answer. The first response from Maulik Kumar. You should have ideally cracked it by now, right? You don't have this much time in the exam. Let me tell you, you don't have this much time. Only one response so far. A really well-prepared student, a student who's strong in calculations, would have been in the next question by now already. I know all of you are doing your calculations. I mean, although I cannot see you guys, but I know you're all working on paper, multiplying something there. You're probably multiplying, 72 with 115. Or maybe not 72, you're multiplying 79.2 with 115. And you've got stuck. 92. Chirag has also got 92. So I think 2 responses so far. Option 2. Both of them say option 2. Sometimes questions, we are not able to understand the question, right? Vinny Abhi says sometimes questions are not very clear, we are not able to understand, and that is a problem. That is a problem with you. You're not very clear with the concept. See, you only have to practice and improve that. I mean, nothing can be done about it. Rajeshwari has got 94.3, which is not there in the options at all. Mukesh has got option 3, 90.8. Lalita has got 90.8. AS Negi has got 92. I think your responses are not matching. 10 more seconds and we'll get back to the solution of this question. Option A. Swagato and Rajkumar have got 91.08, and which is option A. All right, let's quickly look at the solution. I think we are running too late already. A dealer buys an article listed at ₹100. Listed at ₹100 means what? The marked price is ₹100. Okay, and get successive discounts of 10% and 20%, right? So discounts of 10% and 20%. What will be the overall discount? See, we know this concept of effective percentage, right? Very, very important, effective percentage concept. So according to that, the overall discount will be how much? 10% plus 20%, or instead of doing it this way, let us apply the formula directly, right? What is the formula for calculating effective percentage? A plus B plus AB by 100. But here, since it is a discount, you must actually take it as minus 10. Discount is a reduction in value. This must be taken as minus 20. So A plus B plus AB by 100. Minus 10, minus 20, plus minus 10 into minus 20 by 100. Simplify this. Minus 10 minus 20 is minus 30. Minus 30 plus 2 is minus 28, which means the overall discount is 28%. Overall discount is 28%. This need not be put on paper, right? I am sure this can be done without writing anything on paper. So basically, you'll have to apply 10% and 20%, take effective of it, and you know that the discount is 28%, which means the selling price will be how much? ₹100 minus 28. 28% of 100 rupees is 28, which is equal to 72. So the person has bought this for 72. Now look at this. He spends 10% of the cost price. See what cost price? His cost price. Selling. This is the selling price of shopkeeper. This is the selling price of dealer. A dealer buys an article. Sorry. This is the selling price of the shopkeeper. Selling price of the shopkeeper is nothing but cost price of the dealer. Are you able to follow? Don't get confused here. He spends 10% of the cost price. How do we get that cost price? That cost price is nothing but 72 here. Are you able to follow? When you go and buy an article from shopkeeper, for shopkeeper it is 72 rupees. Selling price is 72. It is not selling price for you. Yours is the cost price. So he has spent 72 rupees. He spends 10% of this on transportation. So 10% on transportation. So at what price should he sell? So what is the total cost price for him? Total cost price for the dealer, he has spent 72 rupees on the article plus 10% of this on the transportation. 10% of 72. So 72 plus 7.2, 79.2. This is the cost price. He wants to earn a profit of 15%. Profit should be 15%. You know the cost price and you know the profit. Can you find out the selling price? Yes. Cost price 79.2, profit is 15%. Find out the selling price. You'll get the answer. Yes, Rajkumar has got it right. 72 plus 10% and the result plus 15% is the answer. 91.08. You getting it? See, understand, you can do it this way also, right? Some of you are pointing out that, from 100, he will reduce 10 rupees because he has got a 10% discount. Implies it will become 90. From 90, you will reduce 20% because he has got the next discount of 20%. So 20% of 90 is 18. So it will become 72. This also can be done. Nothing wrong with this. So this is the cost price. This is the cost price for him. He has spent 10% on transportation. So 72 plus 10% of 72 is 7.2. 79.2. This is his cost price. What is his selling price? Selling price will be how much? 115% of cost price. 115% of 79.2 because the profit is, since the profit is 15%. Simplify. I know many of you got stuck here. You were doing this calculation, so it took so much of time. Answer is 91.08. Please verify your calculations. Most of you gave wrong answers. 92, 91.2, 90.8. All these are wrong. The answer is 91.08. All right. So I think we'll stop it here. I wish I could solve more questions, but we have a hard stop. I'll have to close the session here. Thank you all for participating in this session, right? You all know that the SSC CGL exam is scheduled in the month of May. So we have about 2 months and this is the first session. In fact, the second session on SSC, the first session was on how to prepare, right? The preparation strategy for this exam, which is already available in YouTube. You can watch it if you haven't attended that session. And this session also would go up by tomorrow afternoon, right? You will be able to see this video again on our YouTube channel by tomorrow. So keep practicing on calculations. Like I said, practice is the key, right? I mean, practice is the key, and more importantly, your calculation ability. Like this question, 115% of, how do you do? If you start doing 115 into 79.2 divided by 100, gone. That's a gone case, right? A smart student will say 79.2 plus 15% of 79.2. You're able to follow. You're able to follow, right? So, complete that calculation and you'll be able to track it. So, just focus on your calculations. There are lots of speed math techniques that we have discussed, especially on percentages. So, apply those techniques and keep practicing on those techniques so that you can arrive at the answers much faster. Remember, the one reason why most of us score less in quantitative aptitude, I'm repeating this multiple times actually. The one reason why most of us score less marks in quantitative aptitude is not because we do not know the shortcut formula. It is because we do not know how to do the calculations. Just keep this in mind and start working on it, right? You have enough time. 2 months is enough to improve your calculation ability. On that note, I would like to close this session here. Thank you once again for joining in this session. The next session is scheduled for the same day, same time, right? Wednesday, 6 p.m. Next Wednesday, which I think is 23rd of March. 23rd of March, and that session would be on English comprehension from the previous year's paper. Will be taken up by Avipsa, our faculty for English language. Thank you. See you in the next session. Till then, keep practicing.
Good evening, everybody, and I welcome you all to this free live session brought to you exclusively by TalentSprint. As you know that the topic that we're going to do today is vocabulary made easy, right? So vocabulary, the moment you think of this, I'm sure, most of you feel petrified, you feel scared, right? Because the only fear that anybody has while doing a reading comprehension or while attempting independently asked questions.
In this video, we will learn how to speak in a jam session. Now, Just a Minute is a great tool to help improve your managing, convincing, and your overall general speaking skills. So, by the end of this video, you would have learned how jam can actually aid in improving 3 skills for you. 1, your ability to organize your thought flow. 2, your ability to apply logic, and sound convincing. 3, your general speaking skills.